All right, PTE adventurers, today we are diving deep into the repeat sentence section.
Oh, yeah.
The one that tends to give those prepping for the PTE academic a bit of a struggle, right?
No, it's a tough one.
But hey, it's a big deal, this exam. I mean, it can open doors to studying or working in an English-speaking place.
Right. Huge.
So no pressure or anything, right?
Exactly. No pressure at all.
But really, though, we know it's infamous for a reason. And that's why we're here to help you crack it wide open.
Absolutely.
Lucky for us, we've got an expert here today to break it all down, not just what makes it so tricky,
Yeah.
but also how to boost that score and your confidence along the way.
That's what we're here for. The PTE academic can be a real game changer if you're looking to go international.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the repeat sentence section, well, it's a pretty big piece of that puzzle.
It is. So let's start with the basics. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Okay, so basically, in the repeat sentence task, you'll hear a sentence. It could be short, like 3 seconds, or longer, maybe 9 seconds, and you have to repeat it word for word.
Sounds easy enough.
Right. But here's the thing. It's not just about knowing the words. It's about listening, really understanding what you hear, remembering it, and then saying it clearly and fluently, all under exam conditions.
Yeah, that sounds a lot harder now.
Yeah.
So it's not just about vocab then. I mean, what's the catch? What makes it so tough for people?
One of the biggest traps people fall into is trying to memorize every single word.
Oh, I can see that.
Right? And that can lead to, well, panic, blanking out when the pressure's on.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's better to think of it like this. You're listening for the main idea, the key words that really hold the sentence's meaning.
I see.
Like, let's say the sentence is, the museum will be closed on public holidays.
Okay.
The key words there would be, well, museum, closed, and of course, public holidays.
Right, makes sense. So focus on the core message and don't get stuck on every little word. But doesn't that run the risk of missing important details? Like, what if you oversimplify?
That's a really good point, yeah. It's a balance, for sure.
Yeah.
You want to be as accurate as possible, but prioritizing those keywords will help you capture the essence, even if you miss a word or two here and there.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
So what other common mistakes do you see people making?
Oh, lots. Mispronunciation is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Unfamiliar words or different accents in the audio can really throw people off.
Uh-huh.
And then there are the fluency issues.
Oh, yeah.
Hesitating, pausing awkwardly, or speaking in a kind of robotic way because they're overthinking it.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely see how nerves would make all of that worse. So how do we combat those issues?
Practice.
Okay.
Lots and lots of practice. And getting comfortable with different ways English is pronounced.
Right.
Different accents, podcasts, news, even movies. The more you listen, the better your ear becomes at tuning into those different ways of speaking.
Right, so it's like training your ear to decode different accents and rhythms.
Exactly. And, the more you listen, the more confident you'll feel when it's your turn to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about some challenges, but what about solutions? What can we do to really excel at this?
Well, active listening is key.
Okay.
And I don't just mean passively hearing the words. Think of it like you're having a mini conversation with the speaker.
Okay.
What's the context? What's the tone? Are they emphasizing any particular words? Pay attention to those cues. It'll help you remember and reproduce the sentence accurately.
So it's about really engaging with the audio, almost like trying to, I don't know, picture the speaker and the situation in your head. What else can help with that? Chunking.
Breaking those longer sentences down into manageable phrases. So let's say you hear, the university library is open 24 hours a day during exam week.
Oh, yeah, those long ones.
Right. You can break it down like this. The university library, pause, is open 24 hours a day, pause, during exam week.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. It makes it less overwhelming.
Right. It's less overwhelming than trying to swallow the whole sentence at once.
Exactly. Okay, chunking. Got it. So what about shadowing? I've heard that's a good technique.
Yeah, shadowing is great. It's basically mimicking a native speaker as closely as possible. Their pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, everything.
So pronunciation workout, basically.
Pretty much.
What kind of materials are good for that?
Oh, lots of things. TED Talks, podcasts, even audio from documentaries.
Okay.
Anything with clear, engaging speakers. You'll not only be working on your pronunciation, but also picking up on how those, experienced speakers use pauses, emphasis, and tone.
So it's like learning from the pros.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another big part of this task is memory. You've got to process and hold on to a lot of information in a short time.
Yeah, memory it's definitely not my strong suit. Any tips for boosting that short-term memory muscle?
There are some fun things you can try. Repeating random numbers
Oh,
or phrases after hearing them, memory games, anything that makes you recall information quickly.
so brain workout, but make it fun.
Exactly. And speaking of, well, kind of studying, let's talk about how this PTE repeat sentence task is scored.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. What are they looking for?
Three main things: content, fluency, and pronunciation.
Okay.
Content is about accuracy. You know how well you repeat the words you heard?
Uh-huh.
And you get points even for partial matches. So even if you don't get every single word, getting most of them right still matters.
Oh, that's good to know. What about fluency?
Fluency is about how smoothly and naturally you speak.
Okay,
Avoid those awkward pauses and try to keep a good pace.
got it.
And remember, confidence plays a big role here. Even if you make a mistake, don't let it derail you. Just keep going.
Don't let those little slip-ups get to you. And pronunciation.
Well, pronunciation is key, right? It's about making sure your words are clear and understandable. Focus on sounds that might be tricky for you and practice them regularly.
Right, fine-tuning those sounds that might trip you up.
Yeah.
So it sounds like practice really is the key to all of this.
It really is, and one of the best ways to practice is using those sample sentences they provide in the official PTE materials.
Okay.
Record yourself saying them,
Uh-huh.
listen back, and analyze how you did. It's like being your own coach.
That's a great tip. So we've covered the challenges, how it's scored, and some strategies to really boost your performance. Where do we go from here?
Well, now that we've got the groundwork laid, let's move on to some more advanced tips.
Oh, okay. I like it. Let's get strategic.
That's the spirit. We'll dig into those right after a quick break. Okay, so we're back and ready to get a little more strategic with the repeat sentence task.
All right, let's do it. What kind of ninja moves are we talking about here?
All right, well, first off, let's talk about your microphone setup.
Okay.
It might seem basic, but trust me, a clear recording is super important for the examiners to accurately assess your pronunciation, your fluency, all of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You don't want all that hard work going to waste because of some technical glitch.
Exactly. So make sure that microphone's positioned right. No muffled sounds, no distortions, none of that.
Right, like making sure your instrument is tuned before a big performance.
There you go. Now, another thing to think about is pacing.
Okay.
It's a bit of a balancing act. You don't want to rush, but you also don't want to speak too slowly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Aim for a pace that feels natural, like how you'd normally speak when you're relaxed.
Right, not too fast, not too slow, but just right. I remember when I was first learning a new language, I would either speak super slowly
Yeah.
or I'd just trip over my words trying to keep up with the native speakers.
Oh, I think we've all been there. It's totally normal when you're learning a new language. But here's a tip that might help you out during the exam. Get familiar with those common sentence structures and vocabulary that they tend to use in the PTE tasks.
So it's like almost anticipating what you might hear and having those patterns ready to go in your mind.
Exactly. The more familiar you are with the language and how they typically construct sentences, the less you'll have to process on the spot.
Right. It frees up your brain to focus on delivering a smooth and accurate response.
Precisely. And speaking of preparation, one of the best things you can do is practice with real test simulations.
Oh, yeah, simulations. They give you a feel for the pressure and help you refine your approach before the actual test day.
Exactly. It's all about simulating that test environment. The time constraints, the audio quality, the pressure. It'll all help you feel much more prepared when you're sitting there in the exam room.
You know, it's funny. We've talked about all these different techniques and strategies, but it seems like the common thread here is practice.
You got it. Consistent practice is key. It's like anything else you want to get good at. Playing an instrument, learning a new sport, or mastering a language. It all comes down to putting in the time.
Right. It's about making those skills second nature, like brushing your teeth or going for a run.
Exactly. And, even just 20 minutes a day of focused practice can make a huge difference. And remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're all part of the process.
Absolutely. Each mistake is a chance to learn and improve. It's about having that growth mindset, seeing challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks.
Well said. And with that mindset, you'll be amazed at how much you can achieve. Now, before we move on, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
We've been focusing on the PTE exam, but these skills, active listening, chunking, pronunciation, they're valuable beyond just getting a good score.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the exam itself, but these skills are useful in so many areas of life.
Think about it. Active listening can transform your relationships. It can make you a more attentive and empathetic communicator. Chunking can help you process and remember information more effectively, whether you're listening to a podcast, watching a documentary, or even just having a conversation with a friend.
And shadowing. It's not just for language learners. It can help anyone who wants to, like, improve their communication, public speaking, or even just their confidence in social situations.
It's really fascinating how skills we learn for one purpose can have such a positive impact on other areas of our lives.
So as you're preparing for the PTE, remember, you're not just prepping for an exam. You're developing skills that can empower you to communicate more effectively, connect more deeply with people, and navigate the world with confidence and fluency.
Could have said it better myself. Now, with that in mind, let's move on to our final thoughts on the PTE repeat sentence task, where we'll share some extra tips to boost your confidence even further.
And we are back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into this PTE repeat sentence task.
Yeah, we've covered quite a bit, haven't we?
We have, from the challenge itself to practical strategies and even some ninja moves.
That's right, that's right.
Hopefully our listeners are feeling a bit more ready to tackle it now.
I know I am. But before we let you go, any bonus tips you can share to really seal the deal? Oh, absolutely. Sometimes if you get hit with a really long or complex sentence,
Oh, yeah, those are tough.
the best thing you can do is try to simplify. Boil it down to that core meaning, almost like you're making a quick mental summary.
So don't get lost in the details. Focus on the essence of what they're saying.
Exactly. It takes some of the pressure off your memory and helps you remember the key points.
Right, right. Sometimes less is more, as they say. Any other bonus tips you'd like to throw out there?
Well, visualization can be really helpful.
Oh, okay.
While you're listening, try to create a mental picture of what they're describing.
Oh, I like that.
It can really help solidify that information in your memory.
Yeah, turning words into like a mini movie in your head.
Exactly. And lastly, don't forget about good old repetition. Practice those same sentences over and over until you can say them without even thinking.
It's like muscle memory, but for language.
That's a great way to put it. The more you practice, the more automatic and fluent you'll become.
This has been amazing. We've really explored this PTE repeat sentence task from all angles, found some really effective strategies,
Yeah.
and hopefully inspired our listeners to approach this challenge with confidence and a sense of, I don't know, adventure.
Absolutely. It's all about perspective, right? It's not just about getting a good score. It's about building those skills that will help you communicate better in any situation.
Exactly. So to our listener, embrace the challenge, stay persistent, and remember, practice is your superpower.
That's right. And don't be afraid of those mistakes. They're just stepping stones on the path to success.
Well said. And with that, we wrap up our deep dive into the PTE repeat sentence task. We hope you found it helpful.
Yeah, best of luck with your PTE journey. Keep practicing and keep those language skills sharp.
Absolutely. Until next time, happy practicing, everyone.